Ayatollah Mohammad Taqi Khalaji, a clergyman who was close to the late Grand Ayatollah Hossein-Ali Montazeri, was detained at his home in Qom by the officials of the Intelligence Ministry of the Islamic Republic on January 12th. In an exclusive interview today with WashingtonTV, the son of Ayatollah Khalaji, Mehdi Khalaji, who is a senior researcher at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, spoke about the latest news concerning his father's arrest, saying that apparently today the Special Clergy Court had informed his family that Ayatollah Khalaji had been transferred to Tehran. Mehdi Khalaji added that in the process of arresting his father, the Intelligence Ministry personnel searched and confiscated hundreds of notes, books, personal letters, the passports of all members of the family, and also his father's computer and satellite receiver, and told family members, including the Mehdi's mother and his own daughter, that they were banned from leaving the country.
And since I left Iran, there was always huge pressure over my family for stopping me. And you know that the intelligence agent, when they came to my father's house, they confiscated all the possessions of the family and all the official documents, including the passports of the family. And my parents, along with my daughter, were planning to come to the United States for Nowruz in March. And they are all banned from traveling outside, and they cannot leave Iran.
Following his interview, which he gave at his place of work at the Washington Institute, Khalaji told an audience in the course of a speech in another part of the Institute's building.
The January 12 arrest of my father, Ayatollah Mohammad Taqi Khalaji, by Iran's intelligence ministry is symptomatic of the Islamic Republic's campaign against Islam. The Islamic Republic of Iran is paranoid and terrified of traditional clerics who reject the rule of the jurisprudent, Velayat Faqih, the philosophical doctrine in which the Islamic Republic is based.
Elsewhere in his interview with Washington TV, Mehdi Khalaji felt that his father was arrested both because of his own activities outside the country and also because his father was close to Ayatollah Yusuf Sanai and the late Grand Ayatollah Montazeri. Another reason had to do with his father's outspokenness in view of his support of the Green Movement.
It could be both. You know that Iranian government recently issued a list of 60 organizations and identified them as institutes and organizations who are involved in the soft war against the Islamic Republic. One of them was the Washington Institute. On the other hand, my father is an Ayatollah who was well known for his blunt criticism of the government behavior, especially in recent months. And he voted for Mr. Mousavi, reformist candidate, and he criticized the government for cracking down on people. And he supported Ayatollah Montazeri and Ayatollah Sanai. He is the first Ayatollah in Iran who was ever arrested after the funeral of Ayatollah Montazeri. It could be a signal to independent clerics who are not corrupted economically and politically by the government and who are able to criticize the government and somehow replace Ayatollah Montazeri.
Khalaji added that following the disputed presidential election of last June, the Islamic Republic has tried to portray members of the Green Movement as anti-Islam and pro-West.
Following the post-election violence, the Islamic Republic has been actively defining members of the Green Movement as either anti-Islamic or pro-Western, so as to delegitimize their possible threat and bolster the regime's own Islamic credentials. The Islamic Republic is not concerned whether their system is seen as truly democratic, but they care deeply whether it is accepted as the only truly Islamic system of the government. Questioning Islamic legitimacy is outside the realm of the secular politicians and academics. Only clerics can do it. It is within this context that Ayatollah Hossein-Ali Montazeri, who recently passed away, and Ayatollah Yusuf Sanai Two clerics who have not shied from expressing their discontent with the current regime are framed as major threats to the Islamic image of the Islamic Republic.
He went on to say that this arrest could be considered potentially the start of a new wave of the arrest of the clergy, because, as he said, under the city of Hom's police atmosphere, which has recently become more police-controlled, Ayatollah Khalaji is the first clergyman to be detained by the Islamic Republic of Iran's forces since the death of Ayatollah Montazeri.
The city of Qom, the religious and virtual capital of the worldwide Shiite community, was very quiet after the June 12 rigged elections. It was only recently, with the passing of Ayatollah Montazeri, where hundreds of thousands came to Qom not only to pay their final respect but to reiterate their support for Montazeri's anti-Khamenei and anti-Islamic Republic views. The protests in Qom were perceived to be so threatening that after the funeral, all ceremonies for Montazeri around the country were banned. Coincidentally, though, December 27th, the seventh day after Montazeri's passing, which in Shiite practice is one of the key days to mourn, was the major Shiite holiday of Ashura. The importance of this day propelled the regime to crack down on one of the hallmarks of Shiism, a major blow to both their popularity and Islamic legitimacy.
Mehdi Khalaji then spoke further about the situation in Qom.
The people are really scared and intimidated, and as you know, the city of Qom, which is the virtual capital of the Shiites worldwide, is like a military base now. Thousands of military men and intelligent men, they control the city. Nobody is free to move or speak out, and it's a very difficult time for clerics in Qom, especially clerics who have a record of the criticizing the Islamic Republic. They are under surveillance. All the phone lines and all the their house are under surveillance. In many of the alleys and streets in Qom where clerics reside, there is a camera, and they even watch the daily moves of the people, including the clerics. So it's a very scary city now, and I understand if nobody under these circumstances dare to come out and condemn the government for the arrest of my father.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
You're welcome.